you could put that truck in the developments in town and possibly here at the school too as well. Whenever you get a decent snow, there's one guy goes that way, one guy goes this way, and one guy goes straight to the mountains the way it is now, and in town the developments kind of get put on the back burner, so it's not really fair to those people either. So I'm just saying there's...
So then you could use the $6,000 that's in the old Gregg school budget for plowing, and not only would it benefit the school, but you would be able to pick up
Right,
more
I mean,
plowing
I
and
don't know,
development in town.
we would definitely have to do that first, because, of people getting in and out of here, but that's something to discuss, I guess. That was a thought, I don't know. And
Something else I'd like to consider, I mean, because it's community related, I think we should consider at least part of the EMS parking plow.
Wasn't that discussed last year, and there was something about who they have doing it was far cheaper
they asked
than
us
what would
about
have been
mowing the
for us to do
grass
it.
or plowing the snow, and one of them was like $50 and the other one was like $75, so I'm pretty sure that they figured
It was cheaper
it was cheaper
for
for them
them
to keep doing it the way they were doing it than have us
Just a
to
thought.
do it, is what they said. But I'm just saying, that's a thought as far as, we can keep doing it right now. I mean, I have a few people that I call if we, get in dire need. We can keep doing it that way if you guys approve of that, and then.
So how would that work if you hired a fourth person? I mean, would they have set hours that they work throughout the winter, so they'd be on payroll as a part-time person, or would they be a contracted service that they would come in? I mean, how would that,
I would say as needed,
a part-time as-needed person, and so,
which is
they
gonna
would
be
have to be on
tough.
call all the time.
Right, that's
But
why it's tough.
to find people,
It's tough because nobody wants to come in the middle of the night,
Unless you hired somebody in
Yeah.
that shift.
Right. I mean, like I said, if it's easier, we can just keep doing what we were doing as far as calling people whenever we need them. There's a couple people, and I guess it's getting close to being the time that's possible. Maybe I waited too long to bring it up.
So you're thinking of plowing this school parking lot every time it snows, that's what you're thinking, right?
Yeah, treat it just as we would have
And
as
to
the
do that,
roads.
you would use your so-called reserve crew or whatever it is
Yeah.
that people.
Unless if it was just a salt job where we were out salting, we could swing in here and do that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And not call somebody in, but like I said, I'll just forget I said that. We'll visit that next year, I guess.
Well, you could think about it until next, maybe come up with a better plan by.
Well, I don't have a
Do
plan,
we
I
have
just
any
wanted to discuss it.
snow in October?
So I should line up snow removal for this year yet.
Well,
Well,
until
that's for us to
you
discuss
guys can
and
think about it and
everyone.
discuss it or whatever,
All right.
but other than that, I don't have
That's
anything.
always hard, that's
So,
always hard.
As a supervisor, if the board would approve it, anytime Brandon needs help that I'm available, I would be more than welcome or willing to help, but that's up to the board.
I think you were on the list last year.
Yeah, for supervisors.
Yeah.
We have, I think, and the auditor set the wages.
we didn't, it's not always that you need somebody, it's just sometimes, if that's what's hard, but.
Especially weekends, if you need somebody, if you're, want to, call me.
Any other discussion on that topic?
I don't have it.
None.
Unfinished business?
Wait, I have a couple questions for Brandon. On Granville Road, how was the problem resolved with the Ryder property,
Problem.
with water?
The house is lower than the road. I mean, we went and scratched some of the leftover Portland cement that was rough out of the driveway. I mean,
I've got 2 calls from Perry Benninghoff's office now.
so have I. I mean.
And I went one Sunday after she called and looked at it. I think it could be resolved very quickly.
We're gonna fix everybody's driveway then that complains?
I think because of her situation, we should consider that.
It's up to you guys.
I mean, from what I've seen, you're looking at less than an hour's work and a little bit of amosite to divert the water.
In the past, we got into situations where a member of the road crew was plowing someone's driveway or plowing out the meat market or that sort of thing. And that's not right. It's not for private use, it's for public use. And the public use stops at the edge of the road. Now, it would be nice to help her if she's in a wheelchair, but I don't know that we should start doing that. I think that's a questionable practice.
That's my opinion. I feel somebody like that deserves just a little bit more than the rest of us,
Well,
but that's
yeah,
my opinion.
but where does it stop? I mean, I think it's more of a yes or no.
Standing in the driveway, looking north to the right, there's a 4-inch pipe already. If that was just opened up and a little bit of amosite put in to divert that water down in the yard, I don't think there'd be a problem.
I dug it
We'd
out,
fix-
I dug it out by hand with a shovel and put a pile of dirt there, but then when we come through there with the snow plow, if we get over a little bit and hit that, then it gets back in the yard, then who's cleaning it up?
Well, when I was there was nothing left. The water washed it away. That's why I reason if you backed it up with a little amosite, I think it would make a difference. And it'd be very little amosite.
I think it's a slippery slope. I think you need to stick to the public roads. You can't be helping this person or not that person, and you're gonna get complaints either way. But, you know, if it's outside the right-of-way, the person who owns the property is responsible for.
This is the same place where, when we go through, before we did spend all that money on the road and cleaned the ditches out and tried to be nice, that we were not really well received by that, and it was not okay. And now we get requested that we do it spring and fall, twice a year, so what do you do in that situation then? You get yelled at if you do it, and then if you don't do it, you get yelled at too, they want you to do it. So
Make sure the culverts are clean and you go on about your business. I guess that's all you can do.
like I said, it's just about the same as the sign thing. What you do for one needs to be done for all.
Sure,
That's
sure.
all I'm saying. You guys can decide from there.
I have a question. Isn't the right of way from the center of the road 16 foot 3 inches, I think it is, from the center of the road? That's the township's right of way. And as long as it's on the township right of way, I think the township should take care of it.
Well,
We've also had issues where it is the township's right of way and we need to do work on it, receive issues from the same
Person.
same road, same
Well,
people.
but here's how you handle it. You just tell them, our right of way is here, because the state does the same thing. They'll say, this is our right of way. We can do anything we want with that. And then from that right of way in is the homeowner's responsibility to fix whatever the problem is.
The only thing that's touchy is a lot of these roads, I'm assuming, were one-lane roads.
Right.
So if that center of the road was on that one-lane road and then it became a two-lane road, without doing a whole bunch of surveying to figure out where exactly the center of the road is,
Right.
I don't know.
Did you answer that question, David?
Yeah, the width of the right-of-way varies, right? But you're right about most of the municipal roads being 16 feet from center. But I want to be clear about something. That's a right to use that portion of the property.
Right.
You know, I'm not in Gregg Township, but my right-of-way goes clear up probably to close to the front door. The municipality doesn't mow my grass, they don't trim the
Right.
trees, they don't do anything on my property. They have the right to, if they want to put in a larger road, they can, but it's not an obligation to take care of all of that right-of-way, it's just,
It's the same with the culvert pipe issue we've been having. Culvert pipes that run under your driveway are not the township's responsibility to clean out.
Right.
They're
Right.
the property owner's responsibility. So, yeah, it is
It's touchy on that too,
it's
because
a hairy,
if the person that lives there doesn't clean it out, it could
Then it
mess
affects
us
everyone.
up too, so it's kind of double-edged
I
sword.
think they can decide to do whatever they want in the right-of-way, but the right-of-way is not making it their property, it's just they have the right to act on that property.
So what you're saying, we leave well enough alone?
I think that we went back a number of times, Brandon and the road crew went back a number of times to fix some things that were done there already, and, I mean, I would trust the roadmaster's opinion and decision on this. That's my opinion.
End of discussion then.
You want it to be the end of discussion? Let's hold it. Okay, nothing else on that, or you wanna keep going?
No point in going anywhere, because we're not getting anything.
EMS funding, anything else for roadmaster?
Nope. Neither.
One thing we should consider, Shook Hall and 45, is that culvert sometime, the way it's open.
Yeah, I said, I talked to you about that, and that Gregg PennDOT most of the time says it's a lot easier to just not deal with it than it is to deal with it, but we can put a catch basin on there, but then it's gonna be it's within their right of way too, and sometimes that takes an act of Congress, but I'll talk to the PennDOT guy if you guys want me to.
At least it's a question and we get an answer.
The bottom of 45 minutes will follow.
Did you say you have talked to PennDOT already, or?
No, you
I
said-
talked to them about the same issue at the bottom of Blue Ball on 192. Before we paved it, I wanted to deal with that, but he said it's a lot, you just walk away from it, is what he told me to do. So, I can talk to him again.
That's all I have.
EMS funding. We need to make a decision on what we're gonna do, because we're at budget time, and that joint meeting is the 19th of September.
The next Wednesday.
So what would you like to do?
I would go with the local services tax and sit back and see what it brings in.
There's the information I've
Yeah,
gathered
then,
since.
go from there.
Yeah, so this is pretty much what we've seen already in the last few meetings.
Right. But there is one there for the very first page. I didn't have any information on that at the time. If you want to explain to the public exactly what they are, that's fine.
I think they know, we've been over,
Agreement on that.
yeah, LST tax, the per capita tax, the, property tax, the one Donna brought to us about taxable properties, so
Good.
what would you like to do?
What was your opinion, Doug?
I think we should go with the local services tax. As Pat stood up here and said, it may not be enough to cover everything we need, but let's see what it brings in. It's just an estimate. Let's see how much money that brings in before we do anything else. And it's on the backs of people who are working rather than on the backs of landowners, so.
I think it would be more fair that way if it's at all possible to work out.
But what if it doesn't bring in what you need to? What's our obligation?
What's that?
What's our obligation, budgetary obligation to them?
My understanding is $25,000. Am I correct?
Well,
That's a
it's
half
up to
mil.
us to decide what our
Yeah.
budgetary obligation is. Half
Yeah.
mil is 25,000, that's what we've kind of gone off of last year. LST will not generate $25,000, so
Nope.
that's a decision we need to make tonight, whether we just go with LST for this year, whether we go with LST and property tax, or whether we go with property tax.
I'm not in favor of property at all.
I would go with LST and look and see what happens during the year, and then we'll adjust if we have to. We might be surprised, and we might not be surprised, I don't know. At best, that's an estimate. You don't know till you actually see the money coming in, so.
What would you like to do, Charles?
And then-
I would agree at that point. We would have to do something.
Yep,
Is there a motion?
I'll make,
Is it, I'm sorry, do you have to go back to that other group and tell them what, I mean,
We have to tell them, but it's up to each municipality to decide.
Primarily, if one defaults, they're all gonna walk away. That has been the decision.
so are we, is this a default? No.
If we don't support our share, yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The LST is not gonna support our share.
Right, but we're gonna have to do like Doug said, we're gonna have to try something to see where we get.
But then we're not gonna have the additional funding to make up the
That's what
25,000.
I'm worried about.
Well, if everybody would pass that, Potter Township and Penn Township have the lion's share of the
It's
local
still,
services tax, and from what I understand, they agreed to put all that in,
right,
right?
right, but it's still not,
It's not fair if not everybody does it.
but it's still not the equivalent of,
Our portion.
I mean, our portion was was a made-up,
It wasn't made up.
wasn't made up
It
amount.
was
In
estimated.
terms of, somebody said let's go with a half mil.
Yeah,
That's
If
what,
somebody originally would have said, let's go with an LST, that would have then been the measuring stick for what was equivalent.
Yeah,
So,
in the beginning, they based their numbers off of
Right.
that.
yeah. Now, as far as I'm concerned, we're not talking about a half mil here, we're talking about LST.
Right.
And I wanna sit back and see what
Charles
brings
is still
in.
talking about a half mil, because that's what $25,000 is.
Let's see what happens, we got a year.
But that's where they come up with the number, Carrie.
I know where they come up with the number.
Well-
What I'm saying is the LST is not gonna generate $25,000. If you would like to be able to give $25,000 to the EMS, you're gonna have to come up with the other $10,000 plus. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we
But
can
if we
go with
don't,
just the
if
LST.
we don't try something, we're not gonna do anything.
Right. But what I'm telling you is, we can try something and go with the LST.
Okay,
But it's
when
not
you're in
gonna
the
equal
office every day,
25,000.
can you work and look at those numbers to see where we can come up with the rest?
Well, the center tax agency.
Charles, where do you wanna come up with $10,000 out of the budget?
That's what I'm asking you for next year.
No, I'm asking you. You
Well,
are
I'm asking
also a
you.
supervisor that
Right.
looks at the budget. I'm telling you, there isn't $10,000 unless you wanna pull it out of the roads. Is that where you wanna pull it from?
We're gonna have to do something, because I don't wanna put it on the landowners alone.
Well, I don't either.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to put it on the
No.
landowners. So where are you coming up with $10,000 extra dollars?
I can't
It
answer that
could
at
be
this
more than
point.
that. The LST could only generate $6,000, and then we have to come up with $19,000. That decision needs to be made now, because we're going into the budget.
We should've talked about this back when it was first started,
We
Carrie.
have been talking about it for months and months and months, actually over a year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go along with Doug, let's see what the LST creates.
Yeah, we can do just the LST tax, but that's all we're gonna be given this year,
Well, see what happens. And
so that you understand that. That's all the money that we'll be giving the EMS, is the LST tax and what it
How
generates.
much other did we give them this year?
We gave them $25,000 this year.
Okay.
We don't have any money in the budget to give $25,000 next year.
Right.
If the LST only generates $6,000, and you wanna give them the equivalent of $25,000, you have to come up with $19,000 more dollars. There is no room in the budget to cut anything, nothing. Michelle,
How far over your solicitor budget are you this year?
we are significantly over
Okay, so maybe
because of battles that we had to do in court.
you didn't have to. No, you
So
didn't have
we need to come up with that money, because the current budget doesn't have any money in it either. So next year, it's not like we're magically gonna come up with another $10,000 to $20,000.
Did anybody ask the Penn Valley EMS if they would give us their budget numbers before we made this decision, so that has that been done yet?
I've asked a number of times.
Well, just from looking at what they have, I mean, I can see that the LST isn't,
It's gonna be about $150,000.
Yeah.
Now, their goal is to sell, or to have 3,000 memberships. So that will generate, if they hit 3,000, they usually have 1,500. So an additional 1,500 at say $50 is gonna generate an additional, I think, 60-some thousand dollars. So if they can generate the additional 60-some thousand, then the municipalities would technically only need to come up with 90,000 in order for them to break even. But that's a big if they're gonna get 3,000 memberships. So there's just a lot of numbers up in the air.
well, I think everyone is aware that they need help, and I think we should just see how it develops. I'm not gonna let them go under, it's too important. So let's just take it a step at a time and see where it goes. Like you say, more memberships could come in, the LSC might generate more money. we hope, so.
I honestly believe, talking to Lindsay, that that will happen.
I hope so. I mean, that would be
Because-
great, that's,
I've talked to so many people that didn't realize what it was really about.
Yeah, well, there's misinformation out there, that's
Right.
for sure, yeah.
It has changed.
there's over 5,000 residences in Penns Valley.
Right.
3,000 shouldn't be unreasonable, but
Yeah.
what I'm not disagreeing. I'm in favor of going with the LST.
Mhm.
I just want it to be evident to everyone that that is all we will be able to give, because there is no other money in the budget. So if it only generates $6,000 or $10,000, we don't have $15,000-$20,000 to make up the difference. So-
For this year.
For this year, yeah, reevaluate it next year. If it wasn't enough, then
Well,
we can look at it then.
If we gave them what we had this year, can't we adjust it in the beginning of next year? To make up the difference?
The problem is you gave money that you had as surplus from last year.
Right.
We don't
But
have
if
a
you
certain-
use your surplus every year, you won't
Deplete it.
have that surplus at the beginning of this year,
Right.
this time.
And we also use
Especially if you
surplus
don't
out of the old
use-
Gregg school, who also will
Right.
not.
So
keep
regardless of
depleting
how
that.
we go budget line, even if we're way over our budget on one line this year, that has nothing to do with, that'll have something to do with our excess revenue at the end of the year, but that doesn't have, that's not a way to base your budget for next year. So, you know, we keep using our revenue, our reserve, there won't be any.
Won't be a
So,
reserve.
when we have money in a savings account, but, you know, that's something we've had to rely on in, January through March, when our real estate tax hasn't come in, so we
Right.
can't really use that.
But like I said, some of the things that Lindsay has told me have changed. I'm banking on the fact, I hope that makes it better. But there again, it's a gamble. So I would agree with Doug. I would like to go with that at this point in time.
So if we're gonna, I'll entertain a motion to go with the LST tax for the EMS.
I'll make the motion.
I will
Well,
second it.
it's a motion to do it, to advertise
Right.
for an ordinance.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I'll send the ordinance to you all to give it the okay before I advertise.
Okay.
So that would then be what you would report next Wednesday.
Correct. Wednesday.
Is that Gregg Township is going to do the LST tax.
I'm sorry,
And
who
that's
made
all
that
we're
motion?
doing.
Charles, you made it?